Have you ever considered the possibility of Mount Zion being in Kenya? It's a question that has sparked endless debates and discussions. Traditionally, Mount Zion is believed to be located in the holy city of Jerusalem, Israel. This sacred hill carries significant religious connotations in the Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions, often symbolizing the promised land and the kingdom of God. However, a fascinating, albeit controversial theory has emerged, suggesting that Mount Zion might actually be nestled in the heart of Africa, in Kenya to be precise. This theory has stirred curiosity and intrigue, challenging long-standing beliefs and prompting a reevaluation of historical and biblical interpretations. The narrative of Mount Zion being in Kenya has not only ignited a fiery dialogue but also opened up a Pandora's box of questions. It's an enigma that beckons us to delve deeper, to question, to explore, and to understand. So let's dive into the mystery of Mount Zion. Could it be in Kenya? Biblical references to Mount Zion are numerous, but the location isn't explicitly stated. A fascinating aspect of biblical literature is its rich symbolism and the layers of interpretation that it invites. Mount Zion is a shining example of this. In the scriptures, Mount Zion is often described as a place of beauty, holiness, and divine dwelling. For instance, in Psalms 48:2, it is referred to as the joy of the whole earth, the city of the great king. This suggests a place of joy, a place of divine presence. On the other hand, in the New Testament, the author of Hebrews presents a spiritual interpretation of Mount Zion. In Hebrews 12:22, we read, "But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem." Here, Mount Zion is not just a physical location, but a spiritual destination, a symbol of the heavenly realm. These references have been interpreted by scholars in various ways. Some consider Mount Zion to be a literal physical location, a specific mountain or hill in the Middle East. Others see it as a symbolic representation of God's dwelling place, a metaphor for spiritual elevation, or a state of spiritual enlightenment. Further, some scholars argue that Mount Zion is not a physical location at all, but rather a spiritual state of being, a divine realm that transcends geographic boundaries. They argue that the focus on finding a physical Mount Zion may miss the true spiritual significance of the term. The quest to locate Mount Zion has led to many theories and much speculation. Some theories suggest it could be located in the Middle East, while others propose locations as far afield as Africa, specifically Kenya. Each theory brings with it its own set of arguments and evidence, adding to the intrigue and mystery of Mount Zion. Despite these clues, the exact geographic location of Mount Zion remains a mystery. This mystery, however, only adds to the allure and fascination of Mount Zion, reminding us of the rich symbolism and deep spiritual significance embedded in the biblical narrative. Recently, a theory has emerged suggesting that Mount Zion could be located in Kenya. Yes, you heard it correctly, Kenya. This proposition, as unexpected as it may seem, has been turning heads and piquing the interest of scholars and enthusiasts alike. But where did this idea originate? And what evidence supports it? Let's delve into it. The Kenya theory, as it's now known, was first proposed by a group of archaeologists and biblical scholars who, through their research, began to question the traditional location of Mount Zion. They posited that the mountain, so integral to numerous biblical narratives, could be situated in the East African nation of Kenya, specifically within the stunning Aberdare Range. This theory was not born out of thin air. It's grounded on a series of compelling arguments, supported by archaeological evidence and biblical interpretation. For instance, the researchers point to certain descriptions within the Bible that align more closely with the geography of the Aberdare Range than the traditionally accepted location. Moreover, several ancient documents previously overlooked also seem to support this theory. These texts reference a mountain in the east that bears striking similarity to the descriptions of Mount Zion. When these references are cross-referenced with the Bible, the connection to the Aberdare Range becomes increasingly plausible. The Kenya theory, while still in its infancy, has been backed by a number of esteemed scholars. Professor James K. Gutu, a renowned biblical scholar, has publicly endorsed this theory, stating that it offers a fresh, thought-provoking perspective on the location of Mount Zion. Despite its controversial nature, the Kenya theory has undoubtedly stirred the pot, challenging long-held beliefs and prompting a reevaluation of what we thought we knew. This theory, while controversial, has gained traction and opened up new possibilities. As we continue to explore this fascinating topic, let's remember that every theory, no matter how unconventional, contributes to our understanding and appreciation of our shared history and heritage. However, not everyone is convinced about Mount Zion being in Kenya. Indeed, there are numerous criticisms and counter-arguments against this theory, which we will delve into now. Firstly, let's consider the geographical evidence. Critics argue that the physical characteristics of the proposed Kenyan site do not match the biblical descriptions of Mount Zion. The Bible paints a picture of Mount Zion as a place of lush vegetation and abundant water, a description that seems at odds with the arid landscapes of the Kenyan highlands. Next, we turn to archaeological evidence. Despite extensive excavations, no artifacts or structures linked to the Israelites have been found in the proposed Kenyan site. This is a crucial point as the Bible describes a well-established city on Mount Zion, complete with a fortress and a royal palace. The lack of such evidence in Kenya raises serious doubts about the validity of the theory. Moreover, critics point out that the Kenya theory largely ignores the historical and cultural context of the Bible. Biblical scholars argue that the Bible is a product of its time and place, reflecting the beliefs, customs, and geographical knowledge of the ancient Israelites. By this logic, it is highly unlikely that the Israelites would have had knowledge of a distant land like Kenya. Quoting renowned biblical scholar Professor James Vanderkam, "The idea that Mount Zion could be in Kenya is a fascinating hypothesis, but it lacks the necessary historical, geographical, and archaeological evidence to be considered credible." And so the debate continues. Some stand firm in their belief that Mount Zion is in Kenya, bolstered by their faith and personal experiences. Others, backed by scholarly research and empirical evidence, remain skeptical. In the end, the location of Mount Zion may not be as important as the values and lessons it represents. As we continue to explore this fascinating subject, let's keep an open mind, respectful of differing opinions and interpretations. So, the debate continues, with no clear consensus in sight. But beyond the debate about its location, let's consider the significance of Mount Zion. In the grand tapestry of history, Mount Zion weaves a narrative that transcends geographical boundaries. It's not just a mountain, a mere geographical feature, but a symbol of something far greater. In the realm of spirituality, Mount Zion holds a pivotal position. It's been referenced over 150 times in the Bible, illustrating its deep-seated importance in religious texts. Psalms 48:2, for instance, describes it as the joy of the whole earth. This isn't a description merely of a hilltop, but of a divine dwelling place, a beacon of spiritual enlightenment and a symbol of God's presence. It's been depicted as the sacred place where God resides, the spiritual home for those of faith. The book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 18, refers to it as the dwelling of the children of Zion. It's a place of refuge, of safety, and of spiritual communion. Historically, Mount Zion has been seen as the heart of the Jewish nation, the city of David, and a symbol of Jerusalem. It embodies the historical struggles, the triumphs, and the deep-rooted faith of a people. Scholars, too, have echoed this sentiment. Renowned biblical scholar Dr. Robert Cargill asserts that Mount Zion represents the idealized vision of a united faith community. It's a symbol of unity, of shared belief, and of communal strength. It's a place that exists simultaneously in the physical and the metaphysical, in the historical and the spiritual. It's a symbol that embodies the confluence of faith, history, and culture. So, while the debate about its physical location may continue, its spiritual location is clear. It resides in the hearts of those who believe, in the collective memory of a people, and in the pages of sacred texts. In the end, perhaps the physical location of Mount Zion isn't as important as its spiritual significance. It's a reminder that faith is not bound by geographical coordinates, but rather it thrives in the hearts and minds of believers. So, is Mount Zion in Kenya? The jury's still out. We've traversed the mystery of Mount Zion, delved into its biblical and historic understanding, and even entertained the intriguing Kenya theory. We've also critically examined the evidence that counters the claim of Mount Zion being in Kenya. It's been a riveting journey, rich with insights and revelations. Remember, the essence of Mount Zion isn't solely tied to its geographical location, but rather its profound spiritual significance. It represents the divine presence, the protection of the Almighty, and a beacon of hope and faith for many around the globe. It's crucial to keep the dialogue open, promote critical thinking, and encourage respectful discourse around such profound topics. After all, truth isn't afraid of questions. Whether in Israel or Kenya, Mount Zion remains a place of immense spiritual significance, a symbol of divine presence and protection.